Spotlight. I'm Kevin Perry, your host for the show, and we're so excited to have with us Mr. Patrick Madden, the acclaimed drama director, theater teacher at Port St. Lucie High School, joining us again for a very exciting show. And of course, as Patrick always does, he brings along some excellent students to share with us what's happening in the theater world at Port St. Lucie High School. You're in for a real treat. But first of all, Mr. Madden, I know we've been around for a while.
We have. Just a few years.
Just a couple. Just in case there's somebody that does not know Patrick Madden and a little bit about the theater program at Port St. Lucie High School. First, introduce yourself to them and let them know why you're so important to the theater world here in our school district and what's happening at Port St. Lucie High.
Well, I was the first theater teacher in Port St. Lucie at Port St. Lucie High School, as you know.
And the only one.
And the only one. This is my 29th year. Yeah. And when Port St. Lucie High School opened back in 1989, I was the youngest teacher at the first high school the town ever had. And now here we are 29 years later. Our drama program has been built up and built up, you know, and we have 250 kids a day. And right now we're working on my 60-something production. I don't know. It's a long time, Mr. Perry, long time.
Okay, you were kind of nice. The drama program, ladies and gentlemen, at Port St. Lucie High is the standard bearer for drama programs, theater programs here in St. Lucie County. We have some dynamic programs, but Patrick has kind of paved the way for things that are happening. So I'll say it since he won't. But Patrick?
Well, that's nice of you. But, you know, as I would say to you, we've worked and worked, and that's come with a lot of time and effort by a lot of people. And as I say to my choreographer, Kim Beauregard, and my musical director, Joyce Scrub, and my orchestra director, Troy Wiley, I'm just the captain of the ship. And if we don't have good people who are on the ship, it's not going to float.
So how did you become involved in theater?
I got involved at an early age through church. I think that I've maybe mentioned that to you before, but getting kids involved in the arts at an early age really can change their life. And I think that it's changed both of these folks' lives who are on our show today with us. But yeah, I got involved as a kid in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Did you make every show that you were cast in?
I did not.
Wow.
I did not.
So is that why you won't cast me?
One of these days, Mr. Perry.
Okay. When we think about the theater world, Mr. Madden, we basically see the finished product.
Right.
But there is so much more to your role as theater educator. Kind of take us through or explain some of those roles, those aspects.
Well, people see the finished product. And as I think you alluded to earlier, our shows are very professional for a high school show. But we don't start out that way. We start with rehearsal, with tryouts in September, right after Labor Day. And we work 3 to 4 nights a week, 3 or 4 hours a night, every day after school to get the production to the point that we're at now. We're just about there, and then in January we have a month of tech and dress rehearsals, and we open on January 25th. But the hours that the kids put in, and singing, dancing, costume fittings, publicity, you know, it's a big task.
Multifaceted role just in the theater, but also you're teaching all day long as well.
And that's different. I don't know that everybody gets that. That's a completely different component of doing the play. We're not rehearsing the play during school time because it's the all-school musical. Mm-hmm. So there's people from other classes. There may even be people that I don't have in drama that are working on the show.
You kind of alluded to it when you were doing your introduction. But tell us why you think it's important for students to be exposed to the arts at an early age and consistently, and why arts are important even in education.
Well, it helps with time management, public speaking, so many ways. But I think that what happens most when you're involved in the arts is you get on a schedule. Like my kids, I mean, Journey works a job, and Journey does dual enrollment, and Journey shows up to practice, and I'm sure he has responsibilities at his house. Trying to do that, and then when you go away to college, you're much more apt to succeed when you can balance all of those things in your life at an early age.
And so what you just alluded to is that these students are also smart, very intelligent, academically strong.
They are smart.
They're not just doing theater all day long.
And you know what? Being involved in something that you like can also help improve your grades.
You just mentioned Journey, and we have Journey and Nina with us. First of all, we're going to have you join in this conversation with Mr. Madden and I. But just in case, Journey, someone doesn't know you since you've been here a while. And Nina, welcome to your first time here on the Spotlight. We hope we see you again. Nina, we'll start with you. We're going to ask both of you to introduce yourself to our viewers. Let them know your classification and things that you're doing outside of the theater class at Port St. Lucie High.
Okay, my name is Nina Schneider. I'm 17, I'm a senior, and I do theater with Mr. Madden.
Journey?
I'm Journey Velez. I'm a senior. I'll be going on my 7th show, I believe, here with Mr. Madden. And like he said, you know, I have dual enrollment and work as well, other than theater.
Journey has an interesting story about how he came to the theater world.
He does.
Because,
he does.
Well, let's tell that both of you kind of tell us that story. I'm sure our viewers would love to hear that.
I'm sure it will be a really interesting story today.
Dr. Perry is actually funny because the person that is involved with the story is actually right here next to me. So I'll tell you the story. So I was a football player and a wrestler as well. And, you know, I really didn't look at theater in any way of, you know, in that form at all. And I was dating Nina Schneider at the time. And she was involved with Mr. Madden's show since she was younger. And so they were doing Hello Dolly at that time, and she was in the performance. And so, you know, I went to go see the performance, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I thought those kids had a lot of guts to go out there and do what they were doing. And, you know, I never saw myself doing that until one day Mr. Madden, you know, he said to me that I should try out for the show because he knew my little brother from the teaching that the seniors do and the juniors do at the elementary schools. So he kept, you know, pushing me to try out, and finally I did it, and now here I am.
We're going to talk about the show, but Journey just mentioned something that I did not have you guys speak about earlier that's so very important to the arts and being so important here in St. Lucie County. Your students go to elementary schools to help train the next generation of, can I get you guys, Journey, Nina, to talk about that, the work that's been done there?
Well, what we do is every day we go over to, you know, just various elementary schools, Mariposa, Morningside, Savannah Ridge, and we're even going to Village Green this year. And, you know, we kind of get with the kids and we do readers' theaters, we do like a song and dance with the kids, and we really, you know, get the kids to come out of their shell and, you know, involve them in the arts.
You see, what we know is that the arts just help the well-rounded. When Journey just mentioned readers' theater.
Readers' theater. You know, I just got a letter from a grandparent who came to see the second graders that Nina and Journey were working with at Morningside Elementary in Savannah Ridge. But the grandparent sent me a letter and said how much the student likes to read, so much more now, that they were involved with the Readers Theater. They brought it to life. These kids were great mentors for the kids. It makes me very proud.
Time management,
right.
Reading skills, because you have to memorize your lines, so that means you have to be able to read your lines. Sometimes in multiple languages, you're singing, you're dancing, the coordination, all of those aspects just help to make a student a more well-rounded student, and I think that's very important.
I mean, the kids were so excited at Morningside Elementary about the Readers Theater night that we did. We had over 500 parents come, and that's because the kids were excited about their performances and reading and getting the people out to the show.
Okay, let's talk about the fall musical that's coming up, the winter musical, and tell us what the musical is, And then we want Nina and Journey. And Nina, we really want to hear from you to tell us what your roles are, the parts that you're playing, why you're up on stage. So let's just start with, what is this show?
The show is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It was written in the late 60s by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, who wrote Evita, Jesus Christ Superstar. Andrew Lloyd Webber, of course, did the music to Phantom of the Opera. Tim Rice did the lyrics, Lion King. And not all the songs in Lion King. It was also Elton John and Tim Rice. But
you know your theater history.
I do. I love theater history. That's a whole nother show.
We can come back and do that one
that's
too.
okay. But Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, I've done once before. I did it back in the mid-90s at Port St. Lucie High School, and people ask me all the time, what's your favorite show that you've directed at Port St. Lucie High School? What do you think's the best show you've ever done? And many people would say Singing in the Rain. That's one always. That was a good one. That's one that's always mentioned. But in my book, the one that I enjoyed the most and I think really turned the page for my program back in the 90s was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's not produced a lot. It's a very guy-heavy show. It's Joseph and his 11 brothers. It's pure entertainment. Every song is done in a different style. One's calypso, one's country western, one's rock and roll, disco. It's so much fun to put on. And we have such a talented cast. And I will tell you right here, from what I've seen in rehearsals, this is going to be as good or better than the last time I put it on. It's a very hard show to explain what the story is. It's loosely based on the biblical story, but it is pure entertainment. It's fun for the whole family, from little kids on up. It's a show that everybody will like, probably as much as when they saw Disney's Little Mermaid at my school or some of the other family-friendly shows, Annie, Oliver, that we've done. This is in the same vein. Only in my mind, I think much more entertaining.
So Nina, what's your role?
I play Mrs. Potiphar, and I'm also a wife.
Tell us who Mrs. Potiphar is, just in case.
She's a dancing part. She's a featured role, and she's more of like, I don't know. She's a dancing part. She's married to a millionaire, and she has a central scene with Joseph, which we don't really want to give away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're gonna make them come see the show.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Make them come see the show. Okay.
Give them a teaser.
How many other shows have you been in at PSL?
I've been in either 9 or 10.
9 or 10.
Yes.
Why do you keep going back?
I love theater, and I do want to do this for my life.
Okay. It's a lot of work with this guy. I know
It is.
I know him well. Yeah, it's a lot of work, time management. Great. Journey?
Well, I played Joseph.
That's because Mr. Mann wouldn't let me try out.
That's right. I'm sure, Mr. Perry. I am one of 12 sons of Jacob, and I'm really one of the most modest of the sons, and one of Jacob's favorite. And you know, it really leads the brothers to become very jealous of me, and that's really how the story starts there. And I'm not going to give anything away, like, you know.
Oh man, you guys are going to make us come see the show.
No, we want you to come. We want you to come and see the show. And you know what was really cool is when we were just up in New York, we had the original narrator opposite Donny Osmond come and do a class with us, and Journey got to speak with her, as well as Chelsea, who we're going to meet in the next segment, and she sang a song from the show with my kids.
Cool.
And she did 1,000 performances of the show with Donny Osmond.
Wow. Tell me this, Nina. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what is your favorite musical and why?
My favorite musical is A Bronx Tale. We saw it on the New York trip last year with Mr. Madden. I love that show just because, like, it taught me so much. Like, it's a movie too, obviously, and just the story behind that, the music, it's just great.
Journey?
Well, you know, this question gets harder and harder every time I come on here.
Yeah.
Being with Mr. Madden, I've seen so many shows. But one of the most recent ones I'd have to say is what we just saw on the New York trip would be Sweeney Todd. And, you know, I love the story of it.
Nina's nodding. She's agreeing.
It was just such a mystery, and you know, it had me on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Did you know the story of Sweeney Todd before you went?
Not at all.
Learning experiences.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It has to be that. Even though we
It's so
take these
much
trips.
fun when you go to a show and you have no idea what it's about.
Mr. Madden, what's your favorite? Really hard, right?
I saw one of my favorites on the New York trip this year, Miss Saigon. It would be in my top 4 or 5 that I've ever seen. Of course, I've said before, Sunset Boulevard, Les Mis. But yeah, Miss Saigon is right up there for me as well.
Nina, how many shows did you guys see this year?
We saw like
So 10.
10? 10.
10 Broadway shows, plus the Radio City Music Hall show, plus the Big Apple Circus. So a lot of
Full speed ahead.
full speed ahead,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Perry.
yeah. Well, before we go to our next segment, we got to tell our viewers when they can come see the show.
Well, you have to come see the show. We open on January 25th and run through February 4th for 11 performances. It's all up on our website, which is pslhsdrama.com. And if you need more information, you can call me at Port St. Lucie High School on our theater line at 337-6768. But we run basically both weekends, Thursday night, Friday night, 2 shows on Saturday, and a matinee on Sunday. But the first Sunday we have 2 matinees, one at 12 and one at 4.
Amazing, amazing. There's going to be more about Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, but we're going to try to make sure that we get those numbers up. But we have some other students that's going to join us for our second segment. So stay tuned.
Todos tenemos un sueño. El mío era ver el océano. Y con un poco de ayuda, lo logré.
Welcome back to our second segment of the Spotlight, and we're talking with Mr. Patrick Madden, the acclaimed theater teacher at Port St. Lucie High School, and some of his wonderful students about their musical that's premiering in late January of 2018. And as we all know, you don't want to miss the shows at Port St. Lucie High School. Mr. Madden, tell us again what show you guys are doing this year.
We're doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Tickets are only $15, and the reason that we can cap our tickets at $15 is we have so many people come, which is one of the things that I really want to make sure that I get to tell you is that our shows a lot of times sell out. So please do not wait to get your tickets. Don't call me the day of the show and say,
like I did.
Like you do, Mr. Perry. Yeah. Please don't call me because we don't have that many seats. Last year, between our 2 shows, we had over 10,000 people come to the show. So we are lucky that we have a lot of community support, and we really want everyone to come. And that's why we added an extra matinee this year, because we found that the matinees were selling out. And this show is 2 hours, including intermission in and out the door, and pure entertainment. I'm so excited to present it for the community.
If you've never seen one of the shows at Port St. Lucie High School, I can guarantee you, you are in for a treat. This year's show is going to premiere on January
25th.
And
runs through February 4th for 11 big shows, and matinee and evening performances available. You can go to our website, www.pslhsdrama.com, or call our ticket line, which you can't get tickets over the phone. You have to actually go to ticket locations, but we have a lot of locations, so it's probably easier for you just to look at those locations. But that number is 337-6768.
Okay. We have 2 students joining us, and Chelsea and Sean. And welcome, Sean. This is your first time here with us on the Spotlight. I hope it's not your last. Chelsea, it's good to see you again. Miss Anna from The King and I. Excellent job in that role as well.
Oh, thanks.
But what I want you to do is introduce yourself to our viewers so that they'll know who some of the students that they're going to see once they come see the amazing show. Chelsea, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, my name is Chelsea Kitzelman, and I'm a senior at Port St. Lucie High School. At that school, I'm involved in Mr. Madden's program. I'm involved in the dance program there, and school, basically. That's really all.
And cheerleading.
And cheerleading. I forgot about that.
And
It's over,
cheerleading.
so I
And
forgot.
cheerleading.
Well rounded, very involved. That's great. That's great. Sean?
My name is Sean Andrick. I'm also in the drama and dance department, and I am also dual enrolled. So before I come to school, I go to IRSC.
Okay, okay. Sean, how many shows have you been involved in at PSL?
Joseph will probably be my 6th show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Chelsea?
6 as well.
Okay, okay. Now, did both of you guys go on the trip to New York? Well, tell me what you liked about the trip.
I mean, you want to go first, or?
I loved our workshops.
I was going to get to that with
loved
you.
them
Because there
so
was
much.
something that really special happened with you at the workshop. Am I right? Okay, first of all, we're excited about this, viewers. Okay, Chelsea, tell us your role in your school's production of Joseph.
Okay, I play the narrator. She basically just tells a story and has a lot of fun.
Has a lot of fun. Now, tell us about the workshop and then tell us who you met at the workshop.
Okay, we had a talk back with, there was 5 people that have been on Broadway, stars and ensemble members and stuff, and one of them was Janet Metz. who
And Janet was?
She played the narrator opposite Donny Osmond in the Canadian version.
Okay, in the Canadian version of?
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor
So in
Dreamcoat.
essence, she was with Donny Osmond in the Canadian version playing the role that you are not playing.
Yes.
What did you learn?
No pressure. No
No,
pressure.
yeah. Because we're going to expect for you to be better than her. Okay? So what did you learn from that?
Well, she gave me some tips when it comes to belting, which is, my part is very vocally demanding. So she kind of, talked to me a little bit about that. And she said that she could be coming to one of our rehearsals and helping out. And
Wow. No pressure. No,
not at all.
No. Okay, and John, what's your role?
My role, his character's name is Simeon, and he is one of Joseph's brothers as well. He's the 2nd eldest of Jacob's 12 sons.
What do you like about being in theater, and what do you like about being in this show?
I guess the thing I like about theaters the most is like the people that we get to surround ourselves with, because we're such a talented group of people, and so we all love the same interests, and we all get to prepare that to perform for an audience. And I think for this show, it's just really exciting and high energy and stuff like that, so it's really fun to present that to the city.
Yeah, this show's it's demanding, it's a lot of work.
And everybody's in it a lot. There's really no leads. It's a true, Chelsea and Journey would probably be considered the leads. Chelsea's part never really leaves the stage. But everyone is in the show, almost the entire show, all 47 cast members.
Wow. Because you were in New York, what else was exciting about that trip or any of the trips that you have gone to New York? Why is that trip so important each year?
I think mostly it's just like a different surrounding for us, because we're so used to being in Port St. Lucie, and then we just take this big trip to New York City where there's tons of people, tons of lights, and we get to see a lot of different shows. So it was really cool for us.
I like it because we're a large group of people who are all interested in the same thing. So when we go up to New York, we get to meet people and do activities and stuff that are based around the thing that all of us love to do.
And as an educator, what I like the most about it is to see, for the kids to see that that is attainable. Through so many years now that I'm old, I've met a lot of people and we have a lot of contacts. And the kids from St. Lucie County, we got to work with Gavin Lee, who was the original Bert in the production of Mary Poppins. He's now starring in SpongeBob. We worked with one of the leads from Come From Away, which is one of the hottest shows on Broadway right now. And what I really like is for these kids to see that Gavin Lee was involved in his high school's show, and he went, and now he's starring on Broadway. That this is an attainable goal.
I know your students, Mr. Madden, Chelsea, Sean, you also go out and help train the next group of theater lovers, participants at elementary schools. Kind of share those experiences with us as well.
It's really cool. We get to go teach all these little kids at different elementary schools, and we get to see them develop reading skills and stuff like that, because they're so young. But once we do like what we call our readers theater with them, we get to see how they grow, and we get to show that to their parents, and it's a really nice thing to do.
Do you guys also help them produce a show as a culminating event?
Yes, we do, for some of the grades, like our 5th graders, and this year we did 2nd graders, we do a dance show with them. So that's really fun because they get to dance, and then we also do a reader's theater with them, so they get to read, so that helps their learning
Right,
stuff.
and they do numbers from different musicals. So and all of them are kid-appropriate family musicals, and it's really rewarding to see the kids doing big production numbers from, you know, Annie, Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
So getting exposed to reading, and those who read succeed. You have to be able to read to do any and everything else. Coordination with dancing, and then exposed to the theater world, to musicals and the language development that comes with that, the activities that come with that, and then to be on stage in front of people, which also helps your presentation skills, because in school you have to present
all the time.
All the time. All the time in front of
a job interview, doesn't matter what you're going to do.
So not only we'll call them academic skills, but life skills.
Sure.
So how has being in the theater world helped you guys develop?
I feel like it's helped me grow as a person more, become more able to communicate with people and just present myself, like for other class projects like that. It's not really hard to stand up anymore and just present, really.
For me, being involved in this program really helped me decide what I wanted to do. And like he said, it really helps you with all of your life skills. You learn time management, you learn how to present, you learn, I don't know, just I feel like the basis of things that you need to grow in your life. And I feel like it also really helped me grow as a person in the sense of you meet a lot of different people, and like playing parts and stuff like that, you really see how like every person is different. So I feel like being involved in this has helped me like accept other people as a whole.
Sean, if you had to speak to our school board members, and it would be an easy sell with them because they're very supportive of the arts, but any other lawmaker about the importance of keeping the arts in as a part of education, what would you say to them?
I would probably say to them that it's really important for people who don't even know they love the arts yet, because it's really something that you develop over a long period of time, really. And it helps you make friends, it helps you grow, it helps you learn, and that's just like such a good point to make, to keep it, because you just need those key things in your life to help you be a person, really.
Chelsea, you and Sean both said that you've been in about 6 shows at Port St. Lucie High School. Tell me what you would say to our viewers as to why they should come see this show or any of your shows.
I feel like Mr. Madden puts a lot of work into our sets and his casting and just everything as a whole, and like he just really puts together a really great production. And I think it's nice to see a group of high schoolers just put together a really strong show.
Sean, my favorite question, what is your favorite musical and why?
My favorite musical is definitely going to have to be Wicked, which is the 2 witches of
the backstory.
Yeah, it's the 2
to the Wizard of Oz.
Witches of the Wizard of Oz, yes. Really, and it's their whole like backstory and how they met and like how they are who they are today in the story, really.
Great, great. If you had to pick a second one, Sean, what would it be?
Second one would probably be Sweeney Todd.
Oh.
I really love Sweeney Todd.
Saw that one on this trip?
Yeah, we saw that. It was an off-Broadway show.
Okay, Chelsea.
School of Rock, definitely.
It really is. It's a lot of fun. I saw that one on Broadway too. Yeah.
I love that show. I think it's really cool that all the kids are like playing instruments on stage, and that it's like such a strong kid cast. And that's just really inspiring. Like they're just little kids performing and playing instruments and singing, and they're all so good. And the show is just fun to watch at the same time. Yeah,
one of my favorites is Hairspray. I love the backstory to Hairspray, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of dancing. And I also love Shuffle Along, which Audra McDowell was starring in. I went to see it the night before it closed, and she was not there, but it was an excellent, excellent show. Okay, quickly before we go, this is Joseph.
Let me give you a little theater history tidbit, though. Adrienne Warren, who was in that show, is now going to London to star in the Tina Turner musical, which is the brand new show. So there's your Shuffle Along fast fact.
Okay, and last, before we run out of time,
let's go.
What can our people do to come see Joseph?
You have to come see Joseph. It's going to be fantastic. Cast of 47, live orchestra, unbelievable energy, entertainment. Go to www.pslhsdrama.com or call the high school 337-6768. Tickets are $15. Joseph in the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, starring these great students that you've just met, and I can't wait for you to come January 25th through February 4th.
Thank you, students, Mr. Madden. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this edition of The Spotlight here, where we shine the spotlight on the arts.